After all the pain and all the blood and all the horror and all the joy and all the love and all the failure and all the success, after all that, are we now going to give the country up? Are we going to give the country up to a set of dark and declining values that will make our heirs and will make the world they live in unrecognizable to us? I would suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, it is really the only issue of our time. If we can solve this, if we can get this done, then the other issues of international import, of arms control and nuclear war, I think will be all right. I also want to say to you that I believe that God has already spoken. We have many of our citizens waiting to hear the call, praying to hear the call. They've missed it. They've missed it. Prayer has become a substitute for action. There is no social cost for those who would undermine and attack the values upon which many of us have staked our lives. There is no cost. No one can doubt that we are in a crisis, and no one can doubt also that these things that I've mentioned are not individual battles. Then these forces of corrosion that are around us and seem to be growing all the time. It is also true that motion pictures and television and the mass media are going to have to be an ally in solving the problem. It's very simple. They help create the problem. And we can't do it. We can't do it without that. That alternative, ladies and gentlemen, is very hard. To create movies, to create television programs and cassettes that have pro-social values with them is extremely difficult. To do something with traditional Christian values and have people watch it is also very difficult. Very often that kind of production is more expensive. Yet I would suggest to you that if the war and the battle, which is now enjoined, is going to be won, if it's going to happen, it will not happen without mastering the mass media in this sense. It is something that we must do. In this context, your presence here tonight, Diane, Challenger Films, you are very, very much part of that process. You have a big stake in it. You have the ability to buy into it. And I would suggest to you that a decade hence, when you sit with your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren and you review for them, as my grandfather did, the last 10 years, you're going to say, the great thing I had happen to me is I had a chance to get into that when it was in its earliest days. And whatever success it's had, and it has been brilliantly successful, part of that success belongs to me.